another week, another Pac-12 transfer addition to USC, linebacker Carson Tabaracci, added since our last show. So that's just yet another Pac-12 player. Travis Dye from Oregon, Austin Jones from Stanford, Brendan Rice from Colorado, Eric Gentry from Arizona State, on and on, Terrell Bynum from Washington, on and on and on and on. And now USC gets a Utah Ute, in addition, of course, to Keel McDonald, the running backs coach that Lincoln Riley poached from Kyle Whittingham's staff. So USC isn't just adding players and personnel, it's doing so from other Pac-12 programs. So people with a working knowledge base of the conference. I think that's very helpful, and I don't think that's happening by accident. Lincoln Riley definitely is a man with a plan.
It's funny you say that and mention the latest edition, because I was checking out the comments to the channel just this morning, and it was funny how many people had both sides of the spectrum covered on the defensive side in regards to our commentary. Half the people generally saying, you guys are forgetting about the defense. The defense is no good, and you guys just keep talking about how great this team's going to be, and they can win the Pac-12, and the defense is awful. And then the other half of the people saying, why are you guys writing off the defense as awful? They haven't played a snap yet. Just because they were awful last year doesn't mean that they're going to be awful this year. So. Yeah,
I mean, I could understand all the reactions. I think that one thing we can say is that, if there's a weak link on the defense, linebacker is not it. Like, that's where the portal additions are coming in fast and furious. Shane Lee, Romello Height, now Carson Tabaracci. So like USC has definitely beefed up its linebacker group. We know that the defensive line still lags behind and that there need to be more bodies up front. But linebacker, that's where USC has definitely had a lot of success getting bodies in, so that when the season starts, if there's an injury, if attrition becomes a factor, they will have reinforcements at the linebacker level. So, in terms of the broader look at the defense, I mean, the defensive line is an issue. And, last week on The Voice of College Football, we had Stanford play-by-play man Scott Rice, for people who missed him. And he said that, because USC is underdeveloped, both on the defensive line and in the secondary, that, you'll see Stanford try to throw the ball, most likely, exploit the Trojans down the field and try to score. More than trying to run clock. Now, that was an interesting point that Scott made from the Stanford vantage point about that Week 2 game. But, it was just unavoidable and undeniable that he focused in right away on, the key to that game being Stanford exploiting USC's defense. So you don't need to take it from me, people who are listening in to the Voice of College Football. You don't need to take it from Mark, even though he's a good one to take it from. But just listen to the Stanford play-by-play man. He immediately identified USC's defense as the weak point, that Stanford is going to have to score big to win that game. Stanford is not going to be able to beat USC 24-20. Stanford will need to ring up 38, 41, 45 to have a reasonable chance of winning that game. So if you think that we're being too pessimistic about USC's defense, hey, it's not just the insider view at USC. It's people throughout the Pac-12 conference. And Stanford wasn't even very good last year. And you have the Stanford play-by-play guy immediately identifying USC's defense as a weak link. That should tell you something, right? Like, it's not an Oregon insider. Or even a UCLA insider. It's a Stanford insider. So again, it's not just us. This is a pervasive view. This is a widely acknowledged majority view, if not an absolute consensus. USC's defense. I'm not going to predict that USC's defense is going to be awful, but that's certainly going to be the weak link. It's certainly going to be the main point of vulnerability. It's certainly going to be the main pathway for opponents to gain any sort of leverage against USC, especially now that you have Jordan Addison and joining this offense, and USC's outlook on offense just keeps getting better and better by the week. If you're going to beat USC, you have to take care of that defense and exploit it the way teams were regularly able to do last year.